Hello everyone, my name is Rohan and today I am going to talk about general pharmacology. Now understand the term pharmacokinetics. The word pharmacokinetics, let's break down this word. Okay, so pharmacos means drug and kinetics or the word kinesis means movement. Now where is this movement happening? This movement is happening in human body, right? So if I had to put the word pharmacokinetics, this word pharmacokinetics in a very short definition, it would be what body does to the drug. What body, the movement is happening in body. So remember that way, what body is doing to the drug. There are four mechanisms by which body is doing something to the drug, okay? Mechanism is absorption. Now the body will first absorb the drug, then the drug will go in circulatory system where it will go to targeted site or organ. We call it distribution. Ki drug bloodstream mein aaya, then it will go to its targeted site. That is only called as distribution. Now, targeted site से जब circulatory system में भी होता है, it will get metabolized. Then finally it will get excreted. पहले drug absorb होएगा, फिर distribute होएगा. It will undergo metabolism. Then ultimately it will be excreted through human body. The word absorption means drug movement from site of administration into the bloodstream. I will explain you here via this diagram. So the star mark is drug. This yellow part is the site and this is blood. Okay. The movement of drug into the bloodstream from its original given site or the site of administration. That is known as, this process is known as absorption. Now there are 5 mechanisms by which absorption is happening in human body. First is passive diffusion, second is active transport, third is facilitated diffusion, fourth is filtration, and last is endocytosis. Now let's understand one of the mechanisms by which absorption is happening in human body. First is passive diffusion. Now we imagine that there is a higher concentration on this side of membrane. And here there is lower concentration. So it will passively move or diffuse from this side to its opposite side. Okay. And the rate at which it will diffuse, the rate that is directly proportional to the concentration gradients. अगर इधर higher हुआ तो obviously इधर lower हुआ तो it will diffuse. Passive means it's moving passively. There is no energy required or no ATP is required. Example would be lipid soluble drugs. Now this is the membrane of a cell is bilayered lipid membrane, right? Bilayered lipid membrane. So lipid soluble drugs will move through passive diffusion. Second one is active transportation. Drug molecules move from a region of lower concentration to higher concentration. This is completely opposite. Okay, these two are completely opposite. Passive diffusion and active transport. Active transport is happening actively. The word actively means ATP is required. This type of transport is carrier mediated transport. A carrier is needed to carry out that transportation or the transfer. Example of transportation of choline into cholinergic neurons. Now there are two types of active transport. One is primary active transport and the second is secondary active transport. Now primary active transport utilizes ATP, hydrolyzes it, breaks down, and then the energy is being utilized, right? While as secondary active, energy is derived from transportation of another substrate like symport or antiport. This is A molecule and this is B molecule. They will move in same direction, giving each other energy and transporting themselves to another side. Okay. While as antiport is anti means opposite. Here is A molecule and here is B molecule. They will move in opposite direction, giving each other that energy to transport themselves from their side to another side. Facilitated diffusion is carrier mediated transport but without ATP. It is usually from higher concentration to lower concentration. This is carrier mediated transport. The word facilitation means to help. Who is helping? A carrier is helping. The carrier is facilitating or helping the drug to move from its higher concentration to lower concentration. Example is glucose in GLUT4 transport. This is a carrier, GLUT4 receptor. It will transport glucose from this side of membrane. Titration depends on molecular size. Now in this diagram, here there is a pore. This is membrane, right? Smaller the size of the drug, it will easily pass through this pore. Okay. Example is insulin. Endocytosis. The drug is uptake by the cell through vesicle formation. Now imagine this is a layer, lipid biomembrane layer, and here there is a molecule of drug. Okay. Now what does this lipid bilayer do? That it kind of engulfs the molecule this way, and then this membrane detaches from here. Then this is the membrane, and then this is the part vesicle is formed. This is actually the membrane, okay? And this is the drug. Drug is taken up by the cell through vesicle formation. Example is vitamin B12. A very important definition that is usually asked in all of the exams in pharmacology is the definition of bioavailability. It's the rate and extension of drug absorbed into systemic circulation from a given dose. Now, factors influence drug bioavailability. There are total 10 factors that affect bioavailability of a drug. First is physicochemical properties. Second is route of the drug administration. Third is pH and ionization. Fourth is presence or absence of food. Fifth is presence of other drugs. Sixth is area of absorption of surface. Seventh is GIT disease. Eighth is first pass metabolism. Ninth is hepatic disease. 10th is enterohepatic circulation. The most important that is usually asked as SAQ in exam is first pass metabolism. Now, let's understand one by one all these factors that influence the drug bioavailability. Now, the first that I told you is physicochemical property of a drug. So, let's say the physico and the chemical property is somehow affecting the drug bioavailability, right? Now, if the drug particle is very small, the better it is absorbed, and the larger it absorbs very slowly. Digoxin absorb good. Anthelminthic's drug, which have larger particles, have poor absorption. Low thing is GIT, and this is drug, and this is the parasite, red color. Now, anthelminthic drug, which are given to kill these parasites in gut. So if they don't get absorbed, they'll stay in intestine, right? And there is antihelminthic property. This is how the parasite will get killed. We know three physical state: solid, liquid, and gas. Liquids have more bioavailability than solid formulations. Lipid soluble, better absorption than water soluble. Because of the lipid biomembrane, they are absorbed better. Bioavailability is more. Disintegration means the time taken to break down a drug into smaller particles. Disintegrated time is the time to break down the formulation. It may be tablet or capsule. Then when it is broken down, it gets converted into smaller particles. Route. There are various routes by which a drug is administration or given to the human body. Now I would like to talk about IV route, that is intravenous system. It is directly given in this blood vessel. This is IV. Now it bypasses the process of absorption. Basically, it avoids GIT, right? Then its bioavailability increases up to 100%. While a drug, when passes to GIT, its bioavailability decreases. The reason is first pass metabolism. We will cover this further. Just remember, IV has the most bioavailability, which is 100%. Example, when insulin is given orally, it gets degraded, while when it's given parenterally, it has increased bioavailability. Third is pH and ionization. Now, 4 types in pH: strong acidic, strong basic, weak acidic, weak basic. Example is heparin, and strong basic is aminoglycosides. Anticoagulant, and this is AMA, antibiotic. These, which are very strong acid and base, they remain unionized in all types of pH. That's why they are poorly absorbed. Now, when it comes to weak acids and weak basics, the example of weak acidics is barbiturates, which is easily absorbed in stomach. I'll tell the reason. Weakly basic example is morphine, which is absorbed in duodenum, small intestine. This is weakly acidic, so this will best absorb in high acidic, right? Now, where is high acid present in GI? It's stomach. Weak basics, they'll try to merge with strong basic environment. Now, where is that? It is in small intestine. And weak acidics will try to merge with high acidic. Food has two probability. Either it will increase or decrease, right? Increase. Now, example is rifampin. And the second is levodopa, which is given on empty stomach. Now let's say the patient has consumed milk, which contains calcium. Everyone knows this. Tetracyclines is an antibiotic, which if given with milk, it will form calcium tetracycline complex, which is insoluble in nature. So the beneficial effect of tetracycline is not seen in patients. The second probability increases. Now fatty meats like milk, same example, is given with lumefantrine, which is an anti-malarial drug. It is given in malaria, which increases its absorption. Fifth is presence of other drug. See, there are two probabilities. Either it could be presence of drug or absence of other drug. Increases in which condition? Ascorbic acid, oral iron. Ascorbic acid is vitamin C. If vitamin C is being combined with oral iron, its bioavailability increases by multiple folds. Why? Because vitamin C will keep the oral in ferrous form, which is most active form of iron. Absorption of iron is increased because of vitamin C. The second option is decreases. Antacids decreases the absorption of tetracycline. Now a very good example is anticholinergics. Causes muscle contraction. Yeah, sphincter contraction. Now there are two sphincters, the entrance and exit of stomach. Now levodopa is a drug that is given in Parkinson's disease. If the person has anticholinergic drug before levodopa, then the absorption of levodopa is delayed, whereas for digoxin is enhanced. Sixth is area of absorbing surface. Better the absorption, has a good bioavailability and get easily absorbed. Now we all know better absorption happens in small intestine because it has a good surface area. Now there is a surgery from which we just cut a small portion of small intestine, which is called as resection surgery, which decreases the surface area, resulting in decreased bioavailability. Now seventh is GI and other diseases. Gastrointestine increases peristaltic movement due to inflammation. Gastrointestinitis matlab kya? Inflammation of GI tract will increase the peristaltic movement. Mucosa gets edematous, so there is decreased absorption because of edema. You will learn this more in pathology. First pass metabolism is usually asked as SAQ, which is a 5-mark question. First pass metabolism is also called as first pass effect of pre-systemic elimination. When the drug is administered orally, it has to pass through gut wall, then portal vein, and from portal vein it will go to liver, then from liver it will pass into systemic circulation at the end. So in this process, liver converts this drug into an inactive form, or it will metabolize it. What is net result? Net result means the drug that is ultimately being passed into systemic circulation. Now when it will undergo first pass metabolism, liver will either metabolize it or convert it into an inactive form, result in decreased bioavailability. When bioavailability decreases, the therapeutic response of that drug also decreases. The beneficial effect of this drug also decreases. Example is lignocaine, which is being metabolized by liver. Now this will result in drug that undergo extensive first pass metabolism. If we give them orally, it will undergo first pass metabolism. Now as I told you, example is lignocaine, it just break down in liver. If we give it IV in ventricular arrhythmiasis, it is very helpful. It is dose of drug required for oral administration. Now if we have to give it orally, let's say the drug cannot be given parenterally, orally, give it in higher quantities. Example would be nitroglycerin. Orally, it is administered in higher concentrations. Liver diseases increases bioavailability. Why? Liver was making our drug either inactive or was metabolizing it. There is a liver disease, the bioavailability enhances because there is poor first pass metabolism. Now, ninth factor, enterohepatic circulation. The word entero means gut and hepato means liver, right? So some drugs are excreted via bile. Let's say this is a drug which has been excreted into the bile. So bile duct opens into intestine. Now it will, from intestine, it will go to liver. Then from liver again, it will go to bile. This way, this becomes a cycle for drug. Example would be morphine and doxycycline. It also increases bioavailability. Now, if the drug is constantly getting cyclized, the duration that it's going to stay in the human body also increases.